Welcome back to Bison Overtime. I'm Malik Mitchell.
And I'm Mentzel.
We're back for another episode. We got some new content coming in this episode, so don't go away. Starting with Bison football, they're coming off a bye week. Last week they suffered a huge loss against NDSU. This was a tough one. They dropped fourth in the top FCS 25. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's definitely interesting considering that the teams ahead of them, SDSU, Montana State, and Sacramento State. All three of those teams have beat top 25 teams this past weekend. South Dakota State beat UND, Sacramento State beat Montana in a big one at home, and then Montana State beat Weber State in a crazy game in Montana State. So it's definitely very interesting, to see NDSU down at number 4, not at number 1. This is actually the first couple of weeks ever that SDSU has been number 1. So definitely a shakeup in the rankings after that game a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, hopefully during this bye week they went back to the drawing board and fixed what they needed to fix. Judging from Monday's press conference with Matt Ince, he said, they basically went back fundamentals, techniques and stuff like that. Do you think that was the right call coming off a devastating loss like that and you're in the middle of the season?
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do, honestly. After a loss and when you feel like things could be a little out of array at the moment, you just got to calm down, go back to the basics, go back to what, fundamentally what you think can work, and just go from there.
Yep, they call their bye week Bison week, and it's just a tradition that they just take a step back and just focus on themselves and not really focus on other opponents. And maybe that's a good thing because they do have some things to fix, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then we kind of touched on Phoenix Pros, but didn't really get in depth about him transferring. How do you feel about that? What do you think about him transferring, especially in the middle of the season? Remember, we were at the SDSU game on the field, and I was like, "Where is Phoenix Pros?" And you're like, yeah, where is he? He wasn't even on the sideline, and kind of took me, by surprise. But why do you think he made that move?
Well, first things first, I made a wrong assumption last week that he had already transferred to a different college. He has not yet, but he is getting a ton of offers right now. He just got a couple from Missouri Valley as well, UNI and Missouri State. But yeah, it's definitely got to take the team by surprise a little bit. A guy who's been here so long, a big part of this team, even in his younger days, and it's just unfortunately you go back to that dreadful day in 2020 in October when he had torn his ACL, and that just kind of set him back for the rest of his career here at NDSU. And maybe he just wants a fresh start. It's not working out anymore here. Yeah. Maybe if I go to a new team with a new system, maybe it'll be stronger suited for me because obviously his skills aren't the same as what they used to be when prior to the injury. So maybe now that he'll be able to find a different college for his last year of football, maybe it'll all work out for him.
And I know there's been talks about maybe playing time. We haven't seen much of him. He hasn't been making a lot of noise. Zach Mathis and guys like that have been kind of playing more. Do you think that's playing a part? This playing time just solely on that?
Well, I'm sure it is, especially considering how much playing time he had in his younger days, even as a sophomore back in 2019. He was a big part of this offense. He and Christian Watson were both as pretty young players. So I'm sure it's got to hurt a little bit to, as you get older, get less playing time. That normally doesn't happen very often. Normally it's the other way around. So I'm sure it's got to get in your head a little bit when you're not getting as much playing time. And it's nothing to his own, to his own fault. It was just because of that injury. I think, in my opinion, it's what really has set him back.
Yeah, it's just got to be tough, especially on the team. A figure like that. He's the vet. He's one of the vets on the team. Just to transfer, kind of, I wouldn't say bail, but just leave your guys in the middle of the season, especially they're just coming off a tough loss against SDSU. If anything, they need their vets right now. Care to comment on that?
I don't know. With how the transfer portal, I was going to comment though with how the transfer portal is nowadays. It's very easy, and you see this a lot in FBS and FCS football. Players just leaving in the middle of the season, transferring because it's so easy to transfer nowadays. You can just go ahead and transfer, and you can play fall in the next season right away, where it used to be you had to take a year off after you transferred. Now that's not the case anymore. So there's a lot of people who aren't getting either playing time or scheme fit. They can just transfer right away to find a school that fits them better. Yeah.
Do you think it will affect the team in any way?
I don't think so. Personally, this whole season, there's been, like you said, we haven't seen a lot of Phoenix Pros. It's been mostly Zach Mathis, DJ Hart getting those receptions. So I don't think, personally, I don't know what the relations are between players with the team. I don't know that as an outsider, but I'm sure it's got to hurt a little bit to have one of your guys who's probably a good friend of yours leave like that. And not to say that he on purposely tried to hurt anybody here. It's it's still got to sting a little bit to lose somebody who you've been with for so long.
Sure. But on the half of Bison Overtime, I hope he finds what he's looking for in the transfer portal. Hopefully he has a great rest of his career. You know what I mean? Because he was a good player, and it still is. I want to say still is a great player,
and he still can be next year. And there's a lot of good teams that have been offering up his services. So we'll see where he goes.
Moving forward, the team returns tomorrow at the Fargo Dome against Illinois State at 2:30 p.m. Illinois State is also 5-2 overall and 3-1 in the conference. we're going to see some new faces. They have a new transfer quarterback, Zach Ennisted from the University of Minnesota, and he's been taking the offense to new heights. So what does the defense have to do to prepare for him? Because, they've been having trouble in the line and also in the secondary. So what do they have to do to contain this guy?
Zach Ennisted has definitely been making Minnesota regret letting him go over Tanner Morgan. Yeah. But definitely on this D-line, have to get pressure right away. And it doesn't matter that, Cava and guys like that are out already. They have to get pressure, no matter who it is, young guys who haven't been in there much. They have to make sure to find ways to get pressure, get back there right away to make sure he doesn't have time to get the ball downfield, because this offense can be very dangerous when he has time to throw the ball.
Yeah, and I like to say it's good to have an easy team after a tough blow like SDSU, but this is probably not an easy team at all. This team has definitely switched their program around.
No, their only 2 losses this year came in the season opener on the road against Wisconsin, and they're a very close home loss to Southern Illinois, where they only lost by 5 points. So this team has been competitive every single game that they played this year, and there's no way, in my opinion, that I think they won't be competitive on tomorrow.
I just hope the presence of the Fargo Dome will be the same like it was for SDSU. I mean, those penalty calls really came in handy, and I really hope they could, turn the momentum around, man. Get everybody excited to see the Bison again. I'm tired of hearing that, oh, the Bison suck. A lot of fans have switched on this team already just because of that tough blow, and maybe they're not scoring as high. And you know what I mean? Like the predicted wins, we've been having trouble with our predictions in the blowouts and such. But I just hope they get everybody excited again, man.
It can definitely happen for a fan base that doesn't expect to lose, that often. Like, the last time that NDSU has lost 2 games in the season was 7 years ago, all the way back in 2015. So it's been a long time, and some of the fans might not be used to that. But I don't get me wrong, this team is still as competitive as ever. They are still as dangerous as ever. These losses, once it comes to playoff time, these losses won't mean anything anymore to the team, no matter where they're seated, no matter what. These won't matter anymore.
Yeah, just like what Zach Mathis said, we're still a team to be reckoned with. We're still a good team. We just have some bumps on the road. Every team has that. Not every team could dominate every single year. You know what I mean?
NDSU had this last year against SDSU and Brookings. It was a struggle. They definitely struggled, and then there was a lot of people questioning, is this team still the same? Could this be the end? The offense wasn't going anywhere. And after that, just flipped the switch, and they were amazing the rest of the season. Looked unstoppable.
What do you predict, Dash? I got the Bison taking this one 28-14. Maybe this prediction could be way off. Maybe it could be on. I need to get at least one. There's no way why you have one and I don't. But that's my prediction for this one.
My prediction is actually pretty close to yours. I got 24-10. Okay. So 4 points off for both teams between the two of us. But it could also be a lot closer of a game as well. Illinois State is going to try to make this as close as they can, and they will try to play spoiler. They will try to win this game. Mm-hmm. So NDSU has to give it all they got this week. They can't take them lightly at all. Like, I know there's been a lot of people saying on the schedule, Illinois State, that should be an easier team coming off of an SDSU game. It's not. No. It is not. Do not take it like that, or they will beat you.
And I think a lot of FCS teams have, in the Missouri Valley Conference, solely have stepped up. UNI, Southern Illinois, even UND.
Indiana State as well. Yeah. I mean, granted, it hasn't shown up as much on the wins chart, but they have been a lot more competitive than their team usually is in previous years. They have played a lot of games close. Like Illinois State, for example. Last week, Illinois State only won that game by 6 points over Indiana State. Indiana State gave them all they could have. So the Missouri Valley as a whole has been very good this year.
For this team, I'm going to say that Cam Miller is going to have to lead that team, and keep the offense going, consistent tempo, don't have any dry spots. I know Coach Rowe plays a part in a little bit of that, but I think the team is going to go as far as how good the offense is going and how good the defense could contain, because they got good guys. They can make stops. They can get 3 and outs, but it's can they keep the ball rolling?
I think they just need to get more trust in Cam Miller. I get the running game usually has the hot hand, but last week it was the passing game that had the hot hand in the first half last week, and they just ran away from that as soon as one pass didn't go quite so well. Mm-hmm. I think whatever works, you got to keep going with that. You can't just change it up mid-game because it feels more comfortable with your scheme. If something's working, you got to keep going with it.
You got to keep attacking it. And do you think we'll see some new faces, even though, like we said, this isn't a bad team, but it's also not a high-caliber team at that, like a SDSU or, do you think we're going to see some new faces? Because going back to the running backs, we haven't seen Jalen Buzz see that much. Kobe Johnson didn't play that much. And I think during the press conference, Madden said maybe he'll be ready to go. If it's not, then it won't. We didn't need him, because in the beginning they didn't need him. They were doing pretty good. 21-7.5. I mean, what more
I feel like Johnson will be ready. He Yeah, he actually didn't even play at all in the SDSU game because it was a game-time decision for him to play that game. And so I feel like he'll be okay, especially coming off a bye, getting that rest. He should be okay and good to go. Yeah. But also, Nate Sundell, center, looks like he might be shut down for the season with, unfortunately, like ankle surgery. So very unfortunate. Just the injuries keep piling up. But the next man up mentality has to take over at all times for cases like this.
Yep, we're going to have to see what happens. When we come, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have a special guest from the men's basketball team. Stay tuned.
There are so many great things to experience at NDSU. It's hard to pick one, but my favorite is
the people. They make it such a warm place. The Bison aren't just across the country, they're across the globe.
It's the perfect distance from home. The faculty are our biggest cheerleaders. Hands-on research experience. The affordable tuition.
All the opportunities to stay active on campus.
Real-world learning experiences.
Once I got on campus, it felt like home.
My name is Addie Stewart, and I graduated from NDSU in the Department of Communication in 2018. My degree was in strategic communication, and I'm the communications specialist for the city of West Fargo. That includes social media, press releases, breaking news, interviews, media relations, and more. I went into communication because I wanted to do something I was passionate about. There were so many opportunities. I knew I could work for nonprofits, government, small business, agency work. Professors in the department definitely impacted me a lot in my life, making sure that once I graduated college, I knew I could get a job here just because of the connections in the department and the great morale that was in Fargo. Future students should definitely come to NDSU because it's a degree like no other here.
The NDSU bookstore has everything you need to show off your Bison pride. The bookstore can have you sporting green and gold wherever you go. It offers many different brands, sizes, styles, and selection so that you find exactly what you're looking for. Shop the NDSU bookstore and show your spirit today.
Welcome back. We are here with Bison basketball player and my good friend Boden Skunberg. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Great to have you on the show.
You actually responded to that question this year.
Right. So this day, the season is now here. You guys will start next Wednesday against Crookston at 7 p.m. at the Shield Center too. How's it feel to be back, man?
It's good. I mean, coming off that loss at the end of the season last year, it's tough. You know, we've been hungry for this whole summer, working hard, and it's good to finally be back.
After Minnesota Crookston, you guys will face some tough teams. Like Arkansas is ranked 10th at the moment. Kansas is ranked 5th nationally and defending champions as well. What are your guys' mindset for these sets of games?
Our mindset is to go in there and win, just like every other game. You know, we're all competitors, we're hungry, and we want to play the best teams we can. So we're excited.
Yeah, taking it back to last season, you guys had a wild ride. I mean, from close games to viral altercations to and then the Summer League tournament, that tough loss. Kind of take me through that game, if you will.
Which one?
The Summer League tournament.
Oh yeah, you know that was that was our first time. Some of our first time playing the championship, and they were a really good team, great atmosphere, and you know we just couldn't get it done. But we're coming hungry this year, so.
Last season, you made a powerful shift in your play from shooting and emphasizing your defensive presence. Did you feel that the game was slowing down for you last season?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, just like every other season, you slowly work into it. When the game starts to slow down, and things get a lot easier.
Yeah, going off that, down the stretch of the season, you started to become that guy that the team that could rely on, you know what I mean? During Oral Roberts, you had a tough assignment, Max Asmith, you know what I mean? And you did your thing. You kind of shut him down in a way. You know, what have you been doing on the off season to have a bigger impact for this season coming up?
Yeah, I know. I'm playing a different role this year, kind of more of like a leader type role. Yeah. Maybe my role expanded offensively too. So I'm just looking to, just play my role and help the team win, whatever that may be.
And now switching gears to the rest of the team, you guys have a lot of new faces. Only 5 returning players, none of which are seniors, and a couple of transfers, and also 5 freshmen. So this is a young team. You care to comment on that?
Oh yeah, it's been an exciting challenge. A lot of new guys, and the coach staff has looked to more like the leaders for us to take a bigger role in helping them adjust to just college basketball. And it's been fun. A lot of ups and downs, but we'll be a good team this year.
Right. Going off that, being that you guys have a lot of new faces, how have you guys been gelling together in the offseason? Because, with new faces, it can either go like in the good or it can fall off in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this team is really close right now. and we've all been just hanging out, whether it's on the weekends in the locker room. We're super tight, and it's just been us, all summer. And I feel like just us being, cohesive like that and together is really going to play a big role this season.
And getting into the conference, you guys had some great battles last year, like Oral Roberts, Western Illinois, and SDSU. Those were all great games. And, maybe it's not at the forefront of your mind, but which teams are you keeping in the back of your head that could be strong competitors this year for you in the conference?
Yeah, we keep on our head that, we're going to play every game the same. We're not going to play harder just because we're playing someone else. But, we're going to come with a chip on our shoulder and play every team the same as hard as we can.
All right, Bo, that's all we have for you. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Yes,
I can't wait to see you guys, the squad, next week and see how you guys do against Minnesota Crookston. Potentially could be a blowout. That's what we predicted. But when we come back, we'll have several Bison sports to cover. Don't go away.
I'm your friend.
I am your coworker.
I'm your neighbor.
There's no set person that defines who needs help in North Dakota.
I play cards with your grandmother every week.
Hunger is becoming more and more widespread and more known because there are people standing up and saying, hey, this can't happen. We can't be having this in our state, in our community.
I sit next to you in math class.
It's proving that they're learning better and they're not coming to school so hungry on Monday morning. We're engaging them and we're helping them learn. I mean, people want to help their fellow citizens, and in this food bank, in this agency, that is exactly what's happening, is people really, truly care.
I'm here.
I'm here to change the faces.
I'm here to change the faces of hunger.
One kid, one mentor, plus one moment can unlock limitless potential. One heart-to-heart, one inside joke. 30,000 youth are waiting. Be there for one of them. It's time. Become a big today.
Welcome back. We're going to start this segment off with Bison soccer. They had a good weekend splitting between two tough teams. On Friday, they beat USD 4-1 at home.
And we talked about them needing a good game this weekend, at least one of these two games to go well. Yes. This game went more than well for the NDSU soccer team.
Yep, Lavin Douglas will be the one to score first for the Bison in the 27th minute, assisted by Kelsey Callio. After USD replied with a goal, Olivia Watson got her first goal of the night during the 62nd minute. And then Olivia Lavick scored a minute later, assisted by Jess Hanley. And lastly, Watson will close out the game with her second goal of the night in the 88th minute. Dash, what stats you got?
Olivia Watson had 4 shots, 3 of them on goal, 2 goals and 1 assist. Lavin Douglas had 4 shots, 2 on goal, 1 goal and 2 assists. Olivia Lavick had 4 shots, 2 on goal, and 1 goal. And NDSU also had 20 shots on goal, which is their second most in the season in a game. USD had 8, and NDSU had 4 saves, and USD had 6.
And then on Sunday, they faced number 2 SDSU and unfortunately lost 2-0. The Jackrabbits scored both their goals in the first half, and the Bison just couldn't respond.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate, especially on senior day to end the regular season on a game like that. Lavin Douglas had 2 shots, 1 of them being on goal, and Paige Goalie had 1 shot and 1 on goal. NDSU had 8 shots, SDSU had 19, NDSU had 8 saves, and SDSU had 2. And also, talking about, other than Douglas and goalie, every other player on the team only had either 1 shot or none at all. So you definitely need more offensive production to win a game than that.
Yep, they are now 4-5 in the conference. Even with a loss, they clinched the Summer League tournament as the 5th seed. They'll face Oral Roberts today at 5 p.m. This will be a tough game. The Golden Eagles, they lost to the Golden Eagles a couple weeks ago, so they really got to step it up if they really want to have a good shot at winning this tournament.
But the fact that they made the tournament this year, is that a step in the right direction for this program? We talked about earlier this year, and this program needs to start heading in the right direction. And the fact that they made the tournament, even if it's an extended tournament, they wouldn't have made it last year with only the 4-team tournament, but they made it nonetheless, and what if they win this game against Oral Roberts? That's definitely a step in the right direction, right? That's definitely progress.
Well, let me ask you this. Even if they don't win this game, let's just say they don't win this game, but just because they made it to some league tournament, do you think that coaching job is going to stay, the coaching staff is going to stay the same?
It's hard to say right now. I think that's really just up to the university at this point. It's really a 50-50. You know, the team might be heading in the right direction. Of course, this could be just a year where the players happen to play better this year, and that's what got them there. We don't know, honestly. That's just going to be up for the school to decide during the offseason.
Now, what are you predicting this game? This is a tough matchup. You know, like I said, they lost to the Golden Eagles a couple weeks back. This will be a tough one. I think everybody's healthy. It's an away game. They're played at a neutral site, but, you know, home field advantage does matter. We've seen them perform like against USD. You know, that was a tough team too, but that was at home, so maybe home field advantage plays a part in, you know, the success of the Bison. How do you think this game will go?
It's all about offense, in my opinion. They have to get a lot of offense in this game. They can't just let the other team have the ball for most of the majority of the game. Like in this last game, having only 8 shots on goal, that's not going to work against a team like Oral Roberts. They're going to have to play with more fire on offense, but if they can keep possession of that ball, and even if they don't get a lot of scores, just keeping possession of that ball, keeping it out of the other player, away from the other players, it's definitely going to help you win the game.
Let's see what happened. Moving on to volleyball. On Saturday, they swept St. Thomas 3-0. A quick start and not letting up is how they won this game. The Bison took the first set 25-17. NDSU was able to double St. Thomas early in the second set, 8-4. Later, taking that set 25-16. They kept that momentum going, winning the third set 25-21. Ellie Hinsey got her 10th double-double of the season with 16 kills and 11 digs. Dash, what other stats you got for me?
Kelly Johnson had 40 assists, 11 digs, 1 block, and 1 ace. Michelle Glover had 8 kills and 1 block. And Syra Tanchin had 12 kills.
Last night, they beat Kansas City on the road 3-2 in 5 sets. NDSU took the first set, winning less than 6 points. So Kansas City was a tough matchup, and they fought back and took the third set. So Kansas City, you know, didn't go out pretty easy.
Even the first time when they played back in Fargo, Kansas City was tough as well.
Yeah.
And Kansas City also took the fourth set in a close 25-23 set, which led to a winner-take-all fifth set. Yep. After falling behind 9-7, the Bison rallied back to take the set and the game with a 15-12 victory in the fifth set.
Getting to some stats, Alexis Bowling led the Bison with 16 kills, 3 digs, and 1 block. Dash, what other stats you got for me?
Michelle Glover had 14 kills and 6 blocks. Allie Hinsey had 14 kills, 14 digs, and 4 assists. And Kelly Johnson, getting all those assists, had 48 of them, 12 digs, and 4 blocks.
So they're still going strong, currently 92 in the conference. Second in standings, they'll be back in action tomorrow against Oral Roberts at 1 p.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So the Bison swept them a month ago. And they're on the 2-game losing streak. I think the Bison have an edge over the Golden Eagles this time around.
This volleyball team is still good. They're still playing strong. Yeah. I definitely like their odds.
Yep. Moving on to golf. Bison Golf competed at the ODU Malik tournament on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday in North Carolina. They received their 3rd victory of the season, this time out of 16 schools. Sorry about that. With this victory, they are now tied for the 3rd program history and 2nd in the Division I era. So this team is making movements just like last season.
Yeah, they're doing very well so far this year for both men's and women's golf. Have had a lot of returning players who have played very well this year.
Yeah, to get into some stats, Nate Adams finished 1st overall for the first time in his career, shooting 10 under par. Gavin Cronkite came in 7th place, shooting 1 under par. Brock Winter would complete the Bison's top 3 by shooting a stroke over par, tying for 14th place. And then they'll be back in action they'll have a break for the remaining of the fall. So they have a huge break. You know, when you're going strong like that, you know, you need to let out some gas, you know what I mean? So they'll be back in the spring, I'm sorry about that, at the Savannah Intercollegiate in Savannah, Georgia.
And meanwhile, for women's golf also had their last competition of the fall. They competed at the Rainbow Wahine Invitational in Oahu, Hawaii. The Bison posted rounds of 306, 306, and 305 for a 3-round total of 917 to finish 10th place in the 13-team tournament. Leah Scar led the way for the Bison, finishing tied for 26th place with a score of 225. Joe Baranchik came in tied for 42nd place with a score of 231, and Maddie Hicks came in tied for 49th place with a score of 233. This is also their last tournament of the fall. Their next tournament will be on February 27th at the Grand Canyon Invitational.
Yep, and then also to highlight, Bison Wrestling will start next week. Next Friday, they'll travel to Lincoln, Nebraska to face the University of Nebraska. Now, getting to some NFL news, the Cowboys. We got our dub against the Lions.
Where's your hat?
It's technical difficulties, but we still got the dub.
It's gone, just like your offense.
Oh, okay. Not the win though. The win was there. We found the win.
The win in your defense was there.
Oh my God, a win is a win. Oh, wait. According to you, a couple of weeks ago, a win is a win, right? That's all you have for me.
It is a win. I'm definitely not denying that.
Okay, even though I don't got the hat. How about the Cowboys? We're still all about the Cowboys.
Your defense, impressive again. You guys were down 6-3 at halftime, but your defense getting 5 turnovers in the second half, and all 5 of them coming in your own territory. So the defense being clutch.
What can I say? 11 from heaven. Come on now. I told you this team will go as far as what? The defense will carry them, and that's what happened. Even though it's the Lions, still a dub was a dub. Speaking of beating easy teams, what happened to your Packers?
The offense is gone. The play calling is just falling
Center
apart.
middle.
I think it's playing the saddest song in the world, Smallest Violin, is what you're looking for here. Anyway, the Packers offense, it's just MIA at this point, especially with now Randall Cobb, and it looks like Alan Lazard's going to be out for a little while now. We have no wide receivers at all to throw to. Aaron Rodgers, it's
been talked he's going to be gone after this season.
Yeah, it's just not there anymore. He was 23 of 35 for 194 and 2 touchdowns, so not a lot of offensive production. But the biggest problem I have with this team right now is the inability to run the ball. Or not even the inability, just the lack of even trying to run the ball from our play calling. Aaron Jones only had 8 carries for 23 yards, and A.J. Dillon had only 4 carries for 15 yards. You are not going to win a game by only rushing 12 times in a game. That's 8 less than they rushed last week against the Jets. They only rushed it 20 times against the Jets last week. And this defense, a lot of people are giving this defense crap over the internet. I don't believe it at all. This defense is playing their hearts out every week. I'm not saying they're the best defense, but they're still a top 10 defense.
You're saying they're making just do what they got.
They have to. I mean, they have to go out there at least 40 to 45 minutes a game, and they're exhausted, and especially when teams just keep running the ball against them because they know they can exhaust this defense. Devondre Campbell had his first career pick 6. That was great to see, and we almost had another defensive touchdown, but it was called back by penalty, so it's just unfortunate. This defense is trying all they can, but the offense is really screwing them over right now.
Speaking of the Cowboys offense, Dak Prescott was back. He had, read off some stats, he completed 19 passes for 207 yards and 1 TD. Now, just like I said, you said our offense was didn't look good, right? This is what I was talking about. Maybe Cooper Rush, even though it's a backup, maybe if it not broke, don't fix it. And there was some kind of game plan, some scheme that was making the offense look good, even though we lost against the Eagles. No, you're not digging it?
No, I'm not. I mean, the problem with the offense right now, in my opinion, for you guys is
you're a hater. You're going to say overall we're not good.
It just seems like, no, Tony Pollard has been a bright spot for your offense, and I
also
really like
Brown has been doing pretty good,
Elliott's been playing a lot better.
Elliott's playing a lot better.
The problem is a lot of your other skill players, especially the wide receiving group, just haven't lived up to the hype. CeeDee Lamb made a couple of great catches, but still need more
consistency
than that from him.
is CeeDee Lamb's problem.
I mean, Michael Gallup is back, but I haven't heard too much from him.
And that's going to be he's just coming off ACL. You got to get back in the loop and before he starts putting up the numbers that he that in his prime, so he's got to get back in the loop.
But the offense definitely has to get better. I mean, with how good the defense has been performing, if the offense is even decent, this team is definitely a Super Bowl contender. I will not deny that.
How do you think that performed?
Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, he had a rough first half, definitely, but he picked it up in the second half, doing what he needed to do, capitalizing off those turnovers. That's one thing, too. And it's the fact that the defense could have just gotten those turnovers and the offense could have just done nothing with them, but they made good, solid drives and capitalized off those turnovers, which is what good teams do.
So now we got the Bears. That should be a win. You see, this is why I like being a Cowboys fan, and not Packers. So when we predict, we actually get it. So I predicted we're going to win. I don't know if you're going to win. No, you got the Bills. The Bills are going to be a tough one. Everybody knows it's a tough matchup.
We got the Bills on prime time, too. It's
so the whole world's going to see it.
A hard element in Buffalo, too. It's going to be tricky.
That's
but
a tough one.
One thing that I've learned from the NFL this year, the NFL is just straight up chaos.
Oh, my God.
Any team can win any game.
I mean, look at last
week with Tampa Bay. They went into Carolina, a team that had just fired their head coach a couple of weeks ago, got rid of Robbie Anderson, just traded Christian McCaffrey 3 days prior. This is a team that should be dead in the water, doing nothing with themselves against a Tom Brady offense. That should have been a blowout.
Yeah.
It was in the other direction. PJ Walker, the former XFL quarterback, he had himself a great game, and the Bucs looked terrible. So any game is a new one this year, in my opinion.
So let me get this straight. One more question before we get out of here. We got 30 seconds. How do you think the Packers will go for the rest of the season? That's all I want to know.
It's definitely hard to say right now, especially considering, because the schedule we still have 5 weeks before our bye, so it's going to be a little while yet. We got a lot of injuries, which is making me nervous right now, but You know, we've been in this spot before. 2016, we were 4-6,
get back
and
to the past.
still made the NFC North. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you for tuning in to another episode of By the Number Time. I'm Malik Mitchell.
And I'm Dash Mentzel.
And we'll catch you guys next week. Stay tuned.